Howdy, it's Matt, and in this video we are going to be unboxing a Nano Talon. Now, those of you which have seen previous videos on this channel, you'll know that this is my second Nano Talon. Now, why did I buy a second? Well, I said I was going to buy a second because they were so good. Now, there is a little bit of a curiosity, is that have they been and put a second servo in the VTAL, like a couple of people have mentioned in the Facebook group, or is mine still only got one servo in the back? Now, if you've not seen a Nano Talon before, here's my little penguin. I've just hit the side with it. There's my little Nano Talon. Absolutely brilliant little model. And in short, I wanted spares. Now, before we go any further, I do actually feel that it's absolutely really appropriate for me to point out that this model was bought as spares for my other model, okay, because I genuinely liked it, and I said that I was going to buy a second one, and I've been and done that. Also, this Nano Talon was bought out of my own money. It was not sent to me as a freebie for review, and the links to this model in the video description are affiliate links, and if you use any of them, you will be supporting this channel. So if you've not been and seen the Nano Talon yet, then what I'm going to do actually, in the top right hand corner, whichever side that is, well, that side, is that there'll be a link up there now to the actual playlist for the Nano Talon, and you're more than welcome to go and take a look at some of the flying adventures which I've had with my Nano Talon already. I've been and put iNav in mine already. I'm really happy actually with the motor. To be honest, I'm not normally that enthusiastic about plug and play models, but that said, the supplied motor works out really well, and to be honest, the ESC as well works fine. So this time around we do, I'm just trying to get in this box now, so we can get in there again. Token bit of fluffy packaging, which is more to kind of like go, oh look, Banggood did actually tidy it up, and I can see that mine has had a bit of a squeeze in there, but this time it's shrink wrap, so we'll get in there, and I'm really looking forward to this one. And the reason why I'm really looking forward to it, because I'd be really pissed off at myself if I stuffed the other one. So I wanted spare. So I am going to be keeping the box on this one. And the reason why I'll be keeping the box is because I'm going to go and stick it up on the shelf. And like I said, it's here for spares. So where do we get in here? Ah, right, there we go. Let's get it right that side. Nice little carrying box. And it's a little bit tough to get in there to begin with. Again, this just doesn't want to come up. Now, like I said, I will be keeping the box on mine, and the reason why I'll be keeping the box is because I want to just keep it stored as spares. I've already been, by the way, on my main one, I have been and laminated the wings and the fuselage. The wings were dead simple to laminate. The wings were, I hate to add, the fuselage not so easy to laminate. And again, if you weren't aware, they say that this model is EPP. However, the black stuff on the bottom of the wing, that's definitely EPP, black EPP, fantastic. The white foam on the top, that is actually EPO foam. I am 99.9% sure that that is EPO foam, which is the normal white foam, and they've done a really good job of moulding the two foams together. And if you haven't seen this before, there is this little square block here, which is that if I twist, moves the aileron. Yeah, very, very sweet job which they've done on it. And again, for absolute portability, you can just plug the wings in. The build time on this model is pretty much non-existent. As long as you can just stick or connect. What do you have to do? You have to plug in two wings. There's the two tail fins, which I've got the wrong way round. There we go, put them that way round. There's the two tail fins. They're just magnets in there to hold them together, which has worked out really well, and no doubts about those at all. And yeah, they just plug in. You plug these in, you plug the wings on, and then you're into sticking your battery and your receiver in territory. It is that simple to build this model. Now I can already see in the bag that they're using white plastic here and not black. On my other one, it's black on the fuselage area, so it comes with a spare propeller, so we'll move that box out of the way. Like I said, I will keep the box because this one is going to be my spare, and pop that there. And actually, I'll let you into a little secret. by the time you see this, I'll already be back. Which is that I'm actually going on holiday shortly, and I will be taking the Nano Talon in the car. The main reason is because number one, it's so small. Okay, so I can take the wings off. It compresses down to a small space. And number two is that I can get massive amounts of flight time out of it. Literally, there's a video on YouTube, and I'll put that in the top right hand corner, whichever side it is, for you, which will have a link to a 14-mile journey, 28 minutes in the sky. And do keep in the back in mind, I could have flown more, and there was parts of that flight when I was mucking around, and we could have got much longer in the air, and that was with a 1600 4S pack. And if I was using Li-ion batteries, then this model could have flown for even longer. Crazy stuff. So yeah, I will be taking this one with me. I did make a few mods to mine. If you want to know what the mods are, which I made to mine, like to do with air vents and exit holes and a few other little tiny little things, then again check the playlist, which it'll be the eye icon in the top right hand corner there for you. Again, looks like exactly the same as my previous one, and we twist that so we can get the lid off. Let's take a quick nose in there. Again, I do like the way that the lid just clicks in and you twist the little catch on the top, and that's it, the lid's in there super securely. Let's move that one out of the way. And again, I can also see that they've been changed to plastic here. That was black plastic on my other one, and now it's white. Same kind of layout which they've got inside. XT60 connector, which is always a good sign. How many times have you received a Deems connector and gone, oh, I need to take that off? Now this little lid area has been, there we go, just probably a bit of excess glue. And fantastic news, look at that. I'm just going to hold that up to the camera. Fantastic news, we do have 2 servos in the elevator. In my original one we only had 1 servo, and now we've been and got 2, so that is absolutely fantastic news. We do have a pair of them in there. It looks like they've cut out a piece of foam to make that fit, whereas on my original one I had to mod mine and put those servos in, and on mine I actually put the servos in the opposite orientation across here, and on this one they've just kept it simple that way. That does mean the wiring is a little bit more AWOL as far as fact. Why don't I hold this down and then we'll zoom in so you can see what's going on. So that's going to be better, isn't it? Right, so I've then moved that way, so you'll notice that we've got the pair of servos in the rear now, which is fantastic, and that's for the V-tail. So when we put the 2 fins in the back, is that they're now being controlled independently. That does mean that you also get your authority, which we didn't get in the original. Then we get a collection of wires. The wires pop out through here. You've got the ESC wires there too. They come round. They've already been connected up on the stabilizer for you. Now the stabilizer is super simple to wire up, and again it's just color coded wires, and all you need to do is just read what it says on here, which is, in fact, let me just move that out of the way and we'll zoom right in so you can see. There we go, hopefully that's going to focus. He says, I wish it hasn't, let's pull back out a little bit. There we go, so it has been in focus now. See, plus and minus, well that's really straightforward, so that's going to be minus and 5 volts, and then the next one in is aileron in. Okay, so that's where it goes to your aileron servo or output from your receiver. So typically that would be channel 2 for me, that could be channel 1 for you depending on what system you're using. Then you've got elevator in, then got throttle in is the yellow one, and then you've got rudder in, and also crucially the mode in as well. Now I don't know if they've been and changed this on this board, which is that for the green one, which is mode for me, is that was a freeway setup. That was you could have it as so that it was stabilized. You had launch mode, which gave a little bit of elevator when you were flying, which is great if you're taking off. Then you had off, and then you had a stabilized mode, which would keep the model a little bit would take the edge off. And again, you may have seen the previous maiden of the original Nano Talon, which turned up here, and yeah, it does take the edge off it, that's for sure. And again, the stabilizer is a really nice feature that it would be nice if we could program it or tweak it in some shape or form. Oh, by the way, those of you which run Spectrum, let me just zoom back in again. Move that there. So those of you which run Spectrum, now where's my knife, is that little port just there. You can plug a satellite in there and you can bind it using that button just there on the side. So if your little SpecSat isn't already bound, you can use that button there to bind it. In short, again, one of our flying buddies, Andrew, he uses Spectrum and he was really impressed by that. So that is classed as happy days. I did wonder what that little plug was. Also, just looking at this quickly again, they're using white plastic in this middle section, white plastic on either side. I don't know if that's better or worse, to be honest. It still looks like it came out of exactly the same mould compared to my original one. Let me just quickly show you for a comparison. Well, it's going to be a little bit tricky because I've actually glued the wings on. So move that across, so you'll see my piece just there is black. Okay, and by the way, I haven't actually glued the wings on, they've just got some sellotape on there to hold them down. So yeah, that's the only difference. Now, building this model is an absolute piece of pee. All you want to do is that those wires, you want to tuck them down that hole there, and the reason why you want to tuck them down that hole there, assuming that you're keeping using the stabilizer, is that there's a little hatch underneath the actual model itself, and you'll be able to attach your your receiver down here in this bottom hatch. You see there's plenty of access in there to grab those wires, and you can put your receiver in there. Brilliant little magnets. And as far as the build goes, again, that's just poke on those couple of wires. Obviously you probably want to calibrate your ESC as well while you're at it. We'll put the lid back down. There's Velcro in there already for a battery. The FPV setup is really straightforward. You can fit your run cam down the nose. Now, whether that's like a normal size run cam Swift, what I've been used on mine is a run cam Mini Swift. It fitted in the hole really, really well. But what I did need to do, and I wonder if I put this down there like that, and we'll go and zoom right in, is that what I did do on mine was that piece of foam just down here on the bottom is that little edge, and again I'm going to just cut mine just to make the point, is that I did cut mine down there like so, cut the back corner out and that piece there. And the reason why I'm cutting that out is because I was using a RunCam Mini Swift in there. I'll put links to that in the video description, and that fit in there perfectly. But to get the actual lens forward enough out through the nose of the model is that I did need to remove that tiny little bit of foam just there for that to work. So let's zoom back out again. Again, FPV setup, really straightforward. It does come with a little mount here, and that's just 4 screws which screws on the lid. Now I am just going to pop that inside. Now, one thing which I have noticed, we've only got one propeller with this. On my original kit we did get 2 propellers, but to be frankly honest, you're never going to break this propeller, and the reason being is because when you come into land, is that this propeller, if I put it over on its side, if that fits on the rear end, I might just get out of the bag rather than faffing with it, is because we just get that screwed on, whichever way round it goes. There we go. There we go. Is that propeller, if we put the ground there, can you see my point? It's going to be really, really bad luck if you break your propeller, because it's about 1 centimetre up from the bottom of the ground, in short. So yeah, it's going to be bad luck, okay, or through lots and lots of wear and tear that you actually break a propeller. So am I bothered about that? No, not really. And they are a 60/30 propeller. Just check on the motor before I look. It should be a ZOHD 2204 1875 kV. Well, I was pretty close. It's a 2204 1870 kV, which you may think is really underpowered, but to be honest, it's actually a brilliant little combo. This little model will cruise around on 3 amps or less, and there is a little ESC in there. That ESC will take up to 4S. I've already been and run mine on 4S before I replaced it for a different one. And by the way, give you a heads up, I'll put a link to the Turnigy 18 amp Tony Jean Plush 18 amp ESC, which is the replacement ESC which I used on mine. On my other one, it's actually mounted up underneath there, and yeah, again, I wanted a proper plain ESC in my Nano Talon. That's the only thing which I've really changed, to be honest, for it. Now, the actual build of a Nano Talon, you imagine you get here on the flight line, you've already got your FPV system set up. You take it out your bag, you just pop your fins in on the back. Okay, you've got to go careful in the back of here. You'll see that there's a little rod just there. You do need to go careful just fitting that in. That may need a little bit of a wiggle to encourage it to go in, as Matt is here trying to give it some encouragement to go in, which it has now gone in. So there's the V-tail, and as far as the wings, they just clip in the side, and they really do just click in the side. So get the holes lined up, click click, nice positive click action in there. And by the way, my original one, which I've had for say 2 weeks or so now, I have flown into a couple of trees, and it's been fine, so the plastic hasn't broken yet. One thing which we have been and noticed is that the square carbon tube in there, in fact let me just zoom in so you can see what we're talking about, if I can zoom the right way. There we go, the square carbon tube, not only on mine but also on Austin's, who's also landed is quite heavily, is that we've noticed this tube has started to break. So something which you can do very, very easily is get some epoxy and then put a carbon or glass fibre rod down the centre of the hole, because it will go all the way into the wing, and that will then give you extra life for the wing. And again, that's only really applicable to those of you which are going to give this model some heavy abuse. Well, I'm just going to say abuse rather than heavy abuse. There's different levels of abuse which you can do to a model airplane, and this one is very much a light little model. So that is the ZOHD Nano Talon. If you're wondering who ZOHD is, it's actually a company called Sonic Model, which I'm sure that you've seen plenty of their other models. It's just a trademark which they're using at the moment. As far as flying, this thing does fly absolutely fantastically well. Like I said, this is my replacement, well, this is my backup model, because I'd be really pissed off with myself if I smash up the other one and didn't have the spares to hand to be able to repair it. Now, one thing which I have been done, in fact I'll put that one to one side, is that I'll just quickly show you this one here, and again I've got a full-blown overview to this one in a different video, and I'll put a link to that in the top right hand corner for you. You'll notice there's a GPS unit back here, and we've got an antenna up here on the top, which may or may not be coming out on the camera, is that I've been to set my original one up with iNav, which has made it, you've got return to home, full-blown stabilisation, you can do waypoints if you want to, or missions. It's got a full-blown LSD as well, and it works fantastically well. And just give you a quick little nose, you'll see that just down there is my Runcam Mini Swift, which I've got in there, and again I've elected to put the FPV transmitter on the top up here on the nose area, so that it's then separated from the FPV is separated from the receiver, from the GPS. And again, we are dealing with a very small model, and we're kind of doing the best we can. So yeah, that is the Nano Talon. You'll now see that I have two of them here. Like I said back at the beginning, I really do like this model, and I said it was so good I was going to go and buy another one. That's what I've been and done. I've got a pair of them here now. This one I am going to go and pack up gently, pop back in the box, so that then I have immediate spares. And yeah, with that said, if you have any questions at all about the penguins, which I call, that's my nickname for the Nano Talon, it's the penguin. If you have any question about the Nano Talon, please just ask in the comment section underneath this video. Remember, these models, both of these, were built out of my own money from my own abuses, and they are good. I really like my Nano Talon, and I like it so much I've been able to spare one, so that I've got spare parts for the main one. So with that said, from myself, Matt, I would like to say a massive thank you to you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you again shortly. As always, cheerios!